Hello everyone! After experiencing copy trading myself, I wanted to take a step back and look at it from a whole another perspective. What are the risks? What are the advantages? And can copy trading actually work? When I first discovered copy trading, it sounded almost too good to be true. Someone else does the analysis, you get the signal, you copy the trade, and if their strategy is profitable over a long time, you make money without having to learn anything yourself. Honestly, that's what attracted me to it. I didn't want to spend months learning how to read charts. I also didn't want to spend hours analyzing the market. I wanted something simple, and copy trading seemed to give me exactly that. But after actually doing it myself, losing money, making mistakes, and seeing both good sides and bad sides of it, I realized that there is a lot more to copy trading than simply copying a few numbers from the message. So, let's start with what the copy trading actually is. At its simplest, copy trading means following someone else's trades. They provide a setup, you copy entry, stop loss and take profit, and you just let the trade play out. You don't need to understand strategy behind the trade. That's what it makes it so attractive. It's simple. The barrier to entry is much lower than trying to learn the trading yourself. And if the person or strategy you're following actually has an edge, and you execute trades correctly with proper risk management, it can actually work. That's an important distinction. Copy trading itself isn't automatically bad, but there are some serious things you need to understand before you start putting money behind someone else's decisions. The biggest advantage is probably obvious. You don't have to do all of the work yourself. You don't need to spend hours searching for setups. You don't need to analyze every chart. You don't need to understand every concept behind technical analysis. You can have your job, go along your day, and just wait for the opportunity to come to you. For someone that doesn't have time or desire to learn trading by himself, I can understand why it's incredibly attractive. And that's exactly how I felt. It couldn't get much simpler, but that simplicity comes with a price. When you're copying someone else's trade, you know what you're doing, but do you know why? Why is entry here? Why is stop loss there? Why is the take profit there? What actually makes this setup valid? I didn't know the answers, and that becomes a problem when trade doesn't go accordingly to a plan. Because if the trade started going against you, what do? Do you trust original signal? Do you close early? Do you move stop loss? Do you add another position? Do you increase your risk? If you don't understand the strategy, you really don't have a framework for understanding those decisions. And that's where I started making mistakes. Looking back at my experience, I realized something really important. The signals weren't necessarily the problem, my decisions were. I had a predetermined amount of money which I was willing to risk with every trade, but after some winning trades, I started to think, why wouldn't I risk more? I wanted faster results. I wanted to recover money I lost, and I become greedy. I increased my lot sizes, I've been opening more positions. Sometimes I change things, sometimes I even ignore the stop loss, and every time something out of it worked, it made me believe I was doing the right thing, until eventually it didn't. That's one of the biggest dangers of copy trading. You can start by following someone else's system, and slowly but surely turn it into your own emotional decision making. And that's where risk management becomes so important. That's probably the biggest lessons I'd take from that experience. No strategy wins every trade. You will have losses. Even a profitable strategy has losing streaks. So if you're copying trades, you need to understand that every signal is a possibility, not a guarantee. Because if you risk too much on one trade, one loss can erase profits from a lot of winning trades. And that's exactly how greed can become dangerous. You win, you increase risk, you win again, you increase it again, and eventually, when losing trade comes along the way, suddenly you're in a position where you wanna recover everything you lost. That's not a strategy anymore, that's an emotion, and the market doesn't care of how much money you wanna pull from it. So, after everything I've experienced, you may wonder whether copy trading actually can work. Yes, I think it can. If you find a legitimate strategy and a signal provided that actually works over a longer period of time, if you understand the risks, if you use proper risk management, and if you follow the system constantly, there's no reason to say copy trading itself won't work. But that's also the most difficult part. You have to stay disciplined. You have to accept losses. You have to resist the temptation to change the things when you are either winning or losing. Because the moment you start modifying the things relying on your emotions, you are no longer following the strategy you originally trusted. You're creating something completely different. And if I could come back to the day I originally joined the copy trading group, I probably wouldn't join it. Not because I think copy trading is inherently bad, but because I personally realized that I don't want to depend on anyone else's decisions. I want to know why I'm entering the trade, why is my stop loss here, why the take profit makes sense, and what even makes the setup valid. I would rather build that knowledge myself. But if I had to start copy trading again, I would do it completely differently. I'd go demo trade first. I'd understand risk management before putting serious amounts of money to it. I'd use fixed risk and I'd follow the signals without any doubt. I wouldn't increase my risk just because I'm winning. Because looking back, most of the things that hurt me weren't part of the original strategy. They were my own decisions. And after everything I've experienced, I don't necessarily think copy trading is bad. I think it can be useful for the right person. But I also think it gets very easy to mess it up if you don't have your own structure. You can easily start by simply copying the trades, and before you even know it, you're increasing your risk, changing your positions, ignoring losses, and trying to make your money back. And once that happens, you're not really following a strategy anymore. You're just hoping. For me, copy trading was a shortcut, but eventually I realized I don't want a shortcut. I wanted to understand what I'm doing, because if I'm going to risk my own money, I want to know exactly why am I entering every trade. And that's what ultimately made me stop looking for someone else's signals and start learning how to trade for myself.